monkey doesn't live there anymore. The monkey moved to Kentucky and took his people with him. And I was glad, because I couldn't listen to his wild screaming at night, the twangy yakety yak of the people who owned him, the green metal cage, the porcelain tabletop, and the family that spoke like guitars. Monkey, family, table. All gone. And it was then we took over the garden we had been afraid to go into when the monkey screamed and showed his yellow teeth. There were sunflowers as big as flowers on Mars, and thick cockscrubs bleeding through the red fringe of theater curtains, and there were dizzy bees and bow-tied fruit flies turning somersaults and humming in the air, sweet, sweet peach trees, thorn roses, and thistle and pears, weeds like so many squinty-eyed stars, and brush that made my ankles itch and itch until you washed them away with soap and water. There were big green apples, hard as knees, and everywhere the sleepy smell of rotting wood, damp earth, and dusty hollyhocks, thick and perfumy like the blue blonde hair of the dead. Yellow spiders ran when we turned over rocks, and pale worms, blind and afraid of light, rolled over into their sleep. Poke a stick in the sandy soil, and a few blue-skinned beetles would appear. An avenue of ants, so many crusty ladybugs. This was a garden, a wonderful thing to look at in the spring. But bit by bit, after the monkey left, the garden began to take over itself. Flowers stopped obeying the little bricks that kept them from growing beyond their paths. Weeds mixed in. Dead cars appeared overnight like mushrooms. First one, then another. And then a pale blue pickup truck with no front windshield. Before you knew it, the monkey garden became filled with sleepy cars. Things had a way of disappearing in the garden, as if the garden itself ate them, or as if its old man memory put them away and forgot them. Ninny found $1 and a dead mouse between two rocks in the stone wall where the morning glories climbed. And once we were playing hide and seek, Eddie Vargas laid his head on a hibiscus tree and fell asleep there with a Rip Van Winkle until somebody remembered he was in the game and went back to look for him. This, I suppose, was the reason why we went there, far away from where our mothers could find us. We and a few old dogs who lived in the empty cars. We made a clubhouse once in the back of that old blue pickup truck, and besides, we liked to jump from roof to another car and pretended they were giant mushrooms. Somebody started the lie that the monkey garden had been there before anything. We liked to think the garden could hide things for 1,000 years. There beneath the roof, soggy flowers were the bones of murdered pirates and dinosaurs. The eye of a unicorn turned to coal. This is where I wanted to die, and where I tried one day, but not even the monkey garden would have me. It was the last day I would go there. Who was it that said I was getting too old to play the games? Who was it I didn't listen to? I only remember that when the others ran, I wanted to run too, up and down through the monkey garden, fast as boys, not like Sally who screamed when she got her stockings muddy. I said, "Sally, come on," but she wouldn't. She stayed by the curb talking to Tito and his friends. "Play with the kids if you want," she said. "I'm staying here." She could be stuck up like that if she wanted to, so I just left. It was her own fault, too. When I got back, Sally was pretending to be mad. Something about the boys having stolen her keys. "Please give them back to me," she said, punching the nearest one with a soft fist. They were laughing. She was, too. It was a joke. I didn't get it. I wanted to go back with the other kids who were still jumping on cars, still chasing each other through the garden, but Sally had her own game. One of the boys invented the rules. One of Tito's friends said, "You can't get the keys back unless you kiss us." And Sally pretended to be mad at first, but she said yes. It was that simple. I don't know why, but something inside me wanted to throw a stick. Something wanted to say no when I watched Sally going into the garden with Tito's buddies all grinning. It was just a kiss, that's all. A kiss for each one. So what? She said. Only, how come I felt so angry inside, like something wasn't right? Sally went behind that old blue pickup truck to kiss the boys and to get her keys back. I ran up 3 flights of stairs to where Tito lived. His mother was ironing shirts. She was sprinkling water on them with an empty pop bottle and smoking a cigarette. Your son and his friend stole Sally's keys, and now they won't give them back to her unless she kisses them. Right now they're making her kiss them, I said, all out of breath from the 3 flights of stairs. Those kids, she said, not looking up from her ironing. That's all? What do you want me to do? She said. Call the cops, and kept on ironing. I looked at her for a long time, but couldn't think of anything to say, and ran back down the 3 flights to the garden where Sally needed to be saved. I took 3 big sticks and a brick, and figured this was enough. But when I got there, Sally said, "Go home." Those boys said, "Leave us alone." I felt stupid with my brick. They all looked at me as if I was the one that was crazy, and made me feel ashamed. And then, I don't know why, but I had to run away. I had to hide myself from the other end of the garden, and in the jungle part, under a tree that wouldn't mind if I lied down and cried a long time. I closed my eyes as tight as stars, so that I wouldn't. But I did. My face felt hot. Everything inside hiccuped. I read somewhere in India that there are priests who can will their hearts to stop beating. I wanted my blood to stop, my heart to stop its pumping. I wanted to be dead, to turn into the rain. My eyes melt to the ground like 2 black snails. I wished and wished. I closed my eyes and willed it. But when I got up, my dress was green, and I had a headache. Dipped my feet in their white socks and ugly round shoes. They seemed far away. They didn't seem to be my feet anymore, and the garden that had been such a good place to play didn't seem mine either.